and welcome to Rathod Science Academy. Today in this session we are going to see current affairs of 28th December 2024. Actually in our newspaper there are nothing much important, there are just 4 to 5 articles which are relevant from your examination point of view. Okay, so let's get started. And before getting started, I want to make a small announcement. We in Rathod Science Academy, we are going to start anthropology batch from January 2nd onwards. So already we posted 2 demo videos in YouTube channel. So if you are interested, so go through that demo videos and you can take admission as soon as possible and try to ensure that you are taking admission before January 2nd so that you will be not missing even a single class, because each and every class is very important. Okay, and one more thing is, if you want to get this GS foundation course, yes, we are going to start new batch after this Sankranti festival. So for that also admissions are going on. You can check for the more details. Okay, so now let us see the first article. See the title, guys. Average household spending rose 3.5% through August 2023 to July 2024, shows government survey. Okay, so the keyword here is household spending. So from which subject point of view you will be seeing this? From GS paper 3 under economy. Okay, so not only from economy point of view, we can also see this from GS paper 2 under society. So what are the things that you have to see here? So this article is talking about one important keyword, that is household spending. That means nothing but, if you see in your house also, your family will be having one head, right? So normally father will be the head of the family. For example, if it is a single parent family, mother will be the head, right? So every household, they will be having certain needs. So for that needs, they will go for market and they will make some demands. Okay, so demands means nothing but they will buy something. That means it is nothing but spending of that so and so household or that family. So this is the meaning of household spending. That means like personal spending or retail spending of a family, which comes under this part, that is household spending. So if you go back to this title, it is said that, so from 2023 August till July 2024, there is increased household spending. Okay, so there is increased household spending. So now let us try to see what might be the reasons. Tell me. So what are the reasons that contributed for increasing of this household spending? For example, if there is increased employment from that so and so family, there will be increasing of demands. For example, if family size is increasing, that means because of increasing of population, obviously there will be increased needs of that family, that will leads to increased consumption. And next one here is, what might be the other reasons? If there is increasing of income of that family, obviously consumption will be very high. Next. Okay, during festival seasons, obviously there will be increasing of demand because of social gatherings, relatives, everything. And next. Non? I didn't get you. Okay, so because of prices also in the market, for example, if there is any discount sale or if there is any offer, what happens? So people will go, there will be rush, and even sometimes it costs stampede. So it is also leading to the increasing of consumption. So these are the normal reasons why there is increasing of household spending. So now let us see this article and let us try to find out what are the exact reasons why there is increasing of spending from August 2023 to July 2024. So here this report is released by Union Statistics Ministry, and this report saying that 3.5% of increasing of household spending from this timeline, that is August 2023 to July 2024. So if you see the key points, you have to remember 5 key points are given in this article. So first point is now we are seeing economic recovery and there is a growth. So because of economic recovery, obviously whenever we are seeing recovery, there will be increasing of demand for goods and services in the market. So because of this, average household spending is increasing, and especially in various sectors we are having this demand and as well as increasing of spending. And especially because of this increasing of average spending, then what happened, so it will create a good environment for this entrepreneurs to invest. So here it will be encouraging business to invest and to expand. Okay, so whenever business are increasing and whenever they are going for investment, obviously that will leads to the increasing of our economy of the country. And next one here is, this article is also saying that if you're comparing with urban areas and rural areas, in which areas normally consumer spending will be more? Urban areas. That means there is a gap between urban and rural areas. So this article is saying that there is decreasing of gap between urban and rural areas. So now tell me, what might be the reasons that contributed for increasing of spending even in rural areas? So here, as you all know that urban areas are expanding day by day. So many rural areas are also coming under the transition zone. That means there is pass of urban culture. Next, what might be the reason? And next one here is, there might be increasing of agriculture productivity. Because of that, the income of farmers is increasing. So that will leads to increasing of spending of household. Okay, so that is the one important thing that mainly given here. So why there is increasing of rural consumption is because of improved infrastructure. So whenever we are having good infrastructure, so people can move from one place to another place easily, so that they will be having access to the malls, everything which is present in urban areas. And next one is, they're also having better access to credit because of nationalization of banks. Now even banking facilities are seen in the rural areas, and even they are using this digital instruments. Like even in rural areas, we have this phone pay, we have this QR code, everything. So this is also one important reason. And one more important reason is increasing of agricultural incomes. So they are empowering these rural consumers, so that here there is increasing of spending. Okay, and if you are comparing with this rural and urban, so in the recent past we studied that there is decreased demand for fast moving consumer goods. That means there is stall in urban spending. So whenever urban spending is decreasing and rural spending is increasing, obviously it is also an important cause for decreasing of gap between urban areas and rural areas. So why there is spending in urban areas had been decreased? What might be the reasons? Because of increasing of living cost. Obviously what happened? So whatever the spending or what are the expenditure of that family is doing, ultimately it will be decreased. And even we can see like especially we don't have this employment guarantee scheme in urban areas. It might be also an important reason. And you have to see like what are the important essential services, what is the demand for that, and especially they are facing like very high living cost. So because of this, what happened, there is slower rate of urban consumption compared to that of rural areas. So because of this, it might be also one important reason for decreasing of gap between these two. And especially there is also a dominance of non-food items in household spending. That means we can say there is also changing of preferences of people. For example, they are investing now in health, they are investing now in education, technology, etc. So because of this, we can understand that there is shift in the demand. So here whenever business are coming up, or whenever government is coming up with any scheme or any policy, it should focus on essential areas. That is the thing which mainly said. And say this article, 22% rise in enrollment after smart classroom initiative. Okay, so what is the keyword? Smart class. So what is the meaning of a smart class? What they need to have? So because of this smart class, 22% of increasing of what exactly? Increasing of enrollments in schools. So what a smart class requires? Which kind of infrastructure? So they need to have these digital boards, or digital panels. And next one, AI teacher, even robots. Yes. So do you know about any scheme which is related to this word smart? So can we go for this establishment of smart classes in rural areas? Is it possible? So what they required, so smart class setup requires for sure internet connection. So if you're not having this internet connection, we can't. So in rural areas, even some areas you're having proper internet connection, but in especially some remote areas, you don't have access, right? So in that areas, it will be a very great challenge for setting up of this smart classes. So these smart classrooms, they were set up under this scheme called as Smart Cities Mission. So whenever you are writing about this topic regarding, write about applications of AI. Okay, there you can use this because of the smart classes or because of the technology. There is increased enrollment by 22%. So in that way you can use this article. So here, if you see your syllabus, we can connect this topic from GS paper 2 under governance, and even from GS paper 3 under science and technology. And in your GS paper 2, we have a topic of education directly. So from these three areas, we can connect this. And you have to focus on especially this scheme. And there is a high chance of getting question regarding this Smart Cities Mission program. Okay, now let us see what exactly this article is saying about. So under this Smart Cities Mission, government is setting up smart classrooms. So because of this, there is increased school enrollment by 22%. So what will be the advantage of increasing of enrollment? So what are the advantages? There will be increasing of literacy rate of a country. And what happened? Skills can be imparted in the schools, and even we can achieve our sustainable development goals. And next, decreasing of crimes in the society. Yes, we can decrease dropouts in the schools. If you are increasing enrollment, obviously government will try to provide midday meals program so that we can increase nutrition. So these are the advantages of implementation or setting up of the smart classes under the Smart Cities Mission. So now let us see exactly what they gave. So first one here is, because of setting up of the smart classes, the first important advantage we have is 22% of increasing of enrollment, especially in urban areas. So because of this, in challenges we can write about, we can't set up this kind of smart classes completely in remote areas. So this will be the one challenge that you can write, because they said clearly that they are going for improving of educational facilities in urban areas. So it will be a challenge for the government, okay, future bureaucrats. And this classrooms not only attract more students but also more engaging. So what happened, instead of teaching about how heart functions, if a teacher plays a video of what is this auricles, what is this ventricle, so what is this veins, what is this vena cava, so how the blood move, what is the impure blood, what is the pure blood, with the color representation, obviously children will remember that for a long time, because visual memory will be more, right? So that obviously we can improve effective learning. Learning outcomes will be improved when we are going for this smart thing. And next one here is, what are the challenges we have in our education? So we are going to address those challenges. For example, if teacher is not saying interestingly, if there is also a chance like if teacher is not going for a proper training, so he may not teach according to the needs of the children. So if you are showing that thing by using dimensions, everything, obviously we can increase interest in the children and we can decrease dropout rate. And next one here is regional disparities in implementation. As I said, because of good facilities and infrastructure which is present in the urban areas, we can implement or we can set up this smart classes in urban areas easily compared to the rural areas. That means again there will be increasing of digital divide. So this digital divide concept came during this COVID-19 period, right? So we are further increasing this digital divide by this smart classrooms. So that we need to make some targeted intervention, so that we have to make this quality of education accessible and affordable for everyone. And next one here is, whenever we are going for setting up of the smart classrooms, if teachers if they don't know like how to use these panels, then is it useful? No, right? So we need to go for regular training of this trainers or teachers, so that we can enhance the comfort and as well as competency in using these technologies, so that we can also empower educators or teachers with the skills. And this one is, under this, they are also going for setting up of digital libraries. So this digital libraries is very important, because we can have the entire list of the book at a single site. So that whatever the thing that we want, so if you're searching with that word, every content from the different books that will be appearing on the screen. So here we are going to provide wide range of educational materials and as well as a support system, so that students' outcome will be obviously improved. And next one here is about your smart cities mission. So this scheme, it is a centrally sponsored scheme. So what is the meaning of centrally sponsored scheme? The funds will be given entirely by center. Yes or no? Yes. What is the meaning of sponsoring, sponsorship? In your BTech, might be if you're doing any fairs or any events, there will be some sponsorship. Somebody will give some only, not entire thing, right? So remember this concept. So in schemes, we have two types of schemes: central sector schemes, centrally sponsored schemes. So central sector schemes, here entirely 100% of funds will come from central government. Center will be giving 100% of fund. But in the centrally sponsored scheme, so fund will be shared by state and as well as center. So this scheme, Smart Cities Mission, is a centrally sponsored. That means the share will be there between center and as well as state. It is very important. And in which year it was launched? In year 2015. And under this scheme, the important aim is to transform 100 cities to provide a necessary core infrastructure, and they want to provide some decent quality of life for the citizens. Okay, so objectives are, the first one is core infrastructure and decent quality of life. Next one is clean and sustainable environment. And next one is smart solution, sustainable and inclusive development. So you may get questions from these objectives of this smart cities mission. You have to remember that. And see this article, letter and spirit. It is about new detention policy. So why it is in use? So this article is about no detention policy. This you have to see from GS paper 2 under governance point of view. So why it is in use? So central government is going to scrap. That means, so there will be detention policy now. That means from the students from 5th to 8th, if they fail, again they will sit in the same class. Okay. But before sitting in the next same class, so they will be conducting re-examination within 2 months, and if in that 2 months, if they are not going to pass, again back to the same class. So this is this new detention policy of the government. So whenever government is coming with this detention policy, what are the advantages? So we can improve education outcomes. Okay, outcomes can be increased, but on another side, disadvantages will be increased dropouts, increased child labor, increased crimes in the society. So like that, we have different advantages and disadvantages that we discussed in our, I think, day before yesterday's class very clearly. If you have not watched that class, please go back and watch day before yesterday's class. There we discussed lots and lots of advantages and disadvantages. So this article, it said that So here recent detention policy which is introduced by Ministry of Education. So why? Because we are having a problem of poor learning outcomes in Indian schools. So actually people or students, they are not having basic mathematics knowledge or basic science knowledge that comes under foundational skills. So because of this we have to go for revival of our education system. So because of that they came up with this detention. So if they are having the fear of detention, obviously they will focus on the studies and they will try to at least pass that examination. So whenever they are trying to read and pass examination, so we can improve learning outcomes. So this is the idea behind this detention policy. So if you're talking about this education policy, especially detention policy, so there is no detention policy and continuous comprehensive education. That means even if you are failing in this 5th class, 6th class like that, so you will be promoted to the next class. So this is the thing which mainly that thing we have supported in our education system. So because of this reason, we are failing to achieve learning outcomes. So because of this, we have to come up with the reforms in our education system. So here, why exactly government now implemented this policy? Because we learned lesson from this COVID-19 pandemic. During this COVID-19 pandemic, what happened? So there will be online classes. So they don't know whether students are attending or not. If they are attending also, they can't see their faces, everything. And there is no proper homework, there is no proper giving of skills, activities, everything. So because of this, many students, their outcome had been decreased drastically. So because of this, that is being continued till now. So here government is very strict to improve outcome of education, so that they came up with this. Okay, so that is the thing, just see that once. And see this next article, marginalized by caste, marginalized in education. So what is this article talking about? At least guess. It is talking about something regarding caste and education. Caste and education. So tell me something about this Chaturvarna system that you know. Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Sudras. And apart from this, we have scheduled caste or Dalits. Dalits are out of this Chaturvarna system. So what is this article talking about? Is there any relationship between the caste you belong and education you are getting? Yes? Okay, so what is the relationship? Can you tell me some points? Okay, if you are belonging to a lower caste, how your education is getting affected? Tell me. So if you are belonging to the lower caste, how your education is getting affected, positively and negatively? So can we talk about this reservation system? Okay, reservation is provided to weaker sections of society. That means if you are belonging to the low caste, you will get reservation. Apart from that, okay, no proper resources for this lower caste. No proper resources. Next. No proper resources, reservations. Next. Awareness. Okay, lack of awareness. Next. Lack of awareness, no proper resources. Hmm? Opportunities are less. More. For whom? Okay, due to reservation, opportunities are more. Okay. Next. Let me write and let me see what are there in the article. Financial crisis. Okay, what about government? Government is providing any schemes regarding education for these people? What are they? So we have STEM, Science, Technology, Engineering, Maths. Recently PM Vidya Lakshmi scheme. Okay, so what? Next, even though next for low caste people only. Next, any other schemes? Okay, in these schemes also, what are the problems in these schemes? Problems in these schemes, what about the funds? Always low amount of funds, and even scholarship will be not released on the time. I think many of you also had this problem, scholarship release. Okay, let us see here what exactly this article is saying. So here there is some intersection, there is a point of intersection between caste based marginalization as well as educational inequality in India. And they are especially focusing on challenges faced by the students from scheduled caste, scheduled tribes and OBC. So actually these low caste people, they are having lots of problems regarding education. So actually one important case study which is given here is, so one boy, his name is Atul Kumar. So he is not getting like proper resources so that he can continue his education. So actually this article is saying that whenever this people who belongs to this lower caste, if they are having the aspiration of getting higher studies, so they are having problems financially, so they can't able to pay the fee. Okay, so because of this what happened, they always, especially our education system will be focusing on financial capacity over the merit. So this is a one important problem. Even if you want to get seat for PG or else like UGC in the medical background, you need to go for management seat. So for management, it is very costly. Only few people can be affordable, not all. Especially people who are belonging to this lower caste, they are almost not affordable for that cost. So here we can see that there is inflation not only in the goods and service in the market, but even for educational cost. For example, if you want to do this IITs or IIMs, so tuition fee is very high. So it will be becoming a barrier for this low caste people to enter into that institutions. So because of this, they are like very disadvantaged. So actually the fees had been increased from 90,000 rupees to 3 lakh rupees at IITs. So it is not merely a financial hurdle, but now education had become a commodity. Okay, so it is also an important problem. And next one here is government is providing some programs like PM Vidya Lakshmi scheme, but what happened? So there is decreasing of funds. So funds are very less. So because of this, it is also one important problem. Even government is providing some scholarships to provide some relief. Like they will be giving some yearly stipend or like 6 months stipend, or based on your education level, government will be giving some scholarship. But it cannot be completely mitigating your financial strain. And next one here is, because of all these things, there is increasing of inequality even in education. There is increasing of dropout rates. Okay, and even from history onwards, we have educational inequality. So if you go to ancient period, so I think, do you know about this Vedas? So who can learn the Vedas? So only people they have double birth, that is Dvija system. They will be having some sacred thread on their body. Only that people can go for uttering of that Vedas, not all. Right? That means this education inequality is present from ancient period onwards. Even today, it is continuing in the form of high fee, like that. Okay, so that is the thing which mainly said here. So this article is saying that yes, we have to take some steps. And even there is increasing of mental conditions or mental pressures on the students who went for admission for this, and after seeing this fees, so many of them are discouraged. And next one here is, sometimes the students they will go for committing of suicides because of this financial stress. So because of this, now government need to take proper steps and need to come up with a comprehensive approach to tackle this economic and as well as social disparities, so that we can ensure that education serves as a true equalizer. Okay, that is the thing. And there is one article, see here, rupee rattle. Currency hits fresh record low of $85.48. That means $1 is equal to $1 is equal to rupees 85.48. That means the value of rupee is decreasing. So this condition is called as what? Rupee depreciation. So whenever the rupee value is decreasing against dollar, so this condition is called as depreciation. If opposite happens, that means if rupee is for $1 is equal to 70 rupees, that means this condition, if you compare with that, it is called as rupee appreciation. That means value of rupee is increasing against dollar. So here rupee value is decreasing day by day. So here you have to see what will be the impact. What will be the impact of this rupee depreciation? Rupee value is decreasing. That means our exports will become cheap or high costly, cheaper. So cheaper means we can export more. There is a chance of exporting of our more exports. And what about imports? Imports become costly for us. Okay, that means there is depletion of forex reserves. That will further leads to trade deficit. And what about investments? Can we attract investments? Yes, of course, because the returns will be more for them. So whenever investments are increasing, what happen? We can increase employment opportunities. Okay, so like that you have to see what happens if rupee value is depreciating day by day. Clear? So these are the important topics that appeared in our today's Hindu newspaper. So by this I'm concluding. So before concluding, so please remember, I want to recall once again that anthropology batch is going to be started from January 2nd. The timings of class is 4:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. from Monday to Saturday. On every Sunday we will be having revision test, and every day we will be having revision of earlier class for first 10 to 15 minutes, and daily answer writing practice will be there for anthropology as well. And I can ensure you that twice the revision will be done in class, so that as soon as prelims is done, you will be able to attend your mains for sure, and we are going to give the material. And try to enroll for that course as soon as possible before January 2nd. And you can contact me on this number 8074 765513. And you can text me on WhatsApp as well. Thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to Rathore Science Academy.